There is a specific kind of silence that costs $1 billion. It's not the peace of a forest, nor the quiet of a library. It is the silence of soundproof glass, standing 50 floors above the chaos of the world. It is the silence of Julian Vance's life. Julian was a man who didn't just understand the market, he composed it. At 38, he was the youngest partner in the history of his firm. He wore suits that cost more than most people's cars, yet he wore them with a careless indifference. To the outside world, he was the apex predator of the financial world. He had the penthouse, and the power to shift industries with a signature. But tonight, the silence was deafening. On the mahogany desk in front of him lay a contract, the merger. It was the deal of the decade, a takeover that would cement his legacy and double his net worth. It was everything he had worked for since he was a hungry, desperate boy from the wrong side of the tracks. But to sign it, he had to do one thing: liquidate a small historic restoration company that stood in the way of a new development. A company that belonged to the only person who had ever seen him when he was invisible, Elena. He hadn't seen her in 10 years. Not since the day he chose the internship in Tokyo over their summer in Tuscany. He remembered her words, spoken softly as she packed her bag. "You are building a castle, Julian. Just make sure you don't lock yourself in." He looked at the pen in his hand. It was heavy, gold, and cold. Tonight, the castle was finished, and he was entirely alone inside it. Fate, or perhaps the cruel irony of the universe, has a way of arranging meetings. 2 days before the signing, Julian found himself at a charity gala for historical preservation. He was there to maintain appearances, to shake hands with the sharks while pretending to care about the fish. And then he saw her. Elena stood by a restored Renaissance painting, explaining the brushwork to a wealthy donor. She looked different, older, perhaps, but radiant. She wore no jewelry, just a simple black dress, yet she commanded the room not with wealth, but with passion. She possessed a richness that Julian realized he had forgotten, the luxury of being genuine. He approached her. The air between them crackled with the static of a decade of silence. "Julian," she said. Her voice didn't hold anger, which somehow made it worse. It held a pity. "Elena," he replied, his voice practiced and smooth, the armor of the billionaire. "It's been a long time. You look happy." "I am," she smiled, and it reached her eyes. "I'm restoring a chapel in the countryside. It's not much, but it has soul. And you? Do you still own the world, or does it own you?" The question pierced his armor. They moved to the balcony, away from the noise. For the next hour, the billionaire vanished. He was just Julian again. They talked about art, about the rain, about the way the light hits the water in Venice. For a moment, he forgot the deal. He forgot the 50-story tower. He felt a warmth he hadn't felt in years. He wanted to tell her about the contract. He wanted to warn her that he was the executioner coming for her company. But looking at her, he couldn't do it. He realized that all his money could buy him anything in the world, except the way she was looking at him right now. The next day was a war zone in Julian's mind. His board of directors was pressuring him. "Sign the papers, Julian. It's business. Emotions are liability." He visited Elena's studio under the pretense of a donation. It was a small, chaotic space filled with the smell of turpentine and old wood. It was messy, vibrant, and alive, the complete opposite of his sterile penthouse. Why do you do it? You could have been a lead curator at the Met. You could have been rich. Elena stopped working and wiped her hands on a rag. She walked over to him, standing close enough that he could smell lavender and dust. Rich? She laughed softly. Julian, look around. I spend my days saving things that people have forgotten. I bring beauty back to life. I sleep soundly every night knowing I haven't hurt a soul. I have enough to eat, a roof over my head, and work that I love. In my world, that is the ultimate luxury. Freedom. She looked at his bespoke suit. You have accumulated so much, Julian. But tell me, when was the last time you created something instead of just acquiring it? Her words were a mirror. He looked into it and saw a monster. He realized that the deal wasn't just business. It was a test. If he signed, he would destroy her livelihood to add another zero to his bank account. If he refused, he would lose his position, his reputation, and the power he cherished. He grabbed her hand. Run away with me. I have a jet waiting. We can go to Tuscany, tonight. I can give you everything. Helena pulled her hand back gently. You still don't get it. I don't want everything. I just want you. But the real you, not this man who thinks love is a transaction. The night of the signing arrived. The boardroom was cold, the table a long stretch of polished marble. The lawyers sat like vultures in expensive suits. The pen lay there again. Julian closed his eyes. He thought of the rain in Tuscany. He thought of Elena's warm studio. He thought of the emptiness of his penthouse. He picked up the pen. He signed. He didn't choose love. He chose the legacy. He chose the safety of his power because, in the end, he was too afraid to be ordinary. He saved Elena's company personally. He bought it out and set up a trust so she would never have to work again. But he did it anonymously. He couldn't face her. He knew that by signing that paper, he had proven her right. He was owned by his world. 6 months later. Julian is even richer. He is the cover of every magazine. He stands on the balcony of his new, even larger estate. It is raining. His phone buzzes, a notification. Elena has sent him a package. He opens it. Inside is a small, framed sketch. It's a drawing of him from 10 years ago, asleep on a train, looking peaceful and poor. There is a note attached. I used the money from the anonymous trust to build an art school for children. You built your empire, Julian. I built a future. I hope the view from the top is worth the climb. Goodbye. Julian looks out at the city lights. They shimmer like gold coins in the dark. Some people are so poor, all they have is money.